All right, so I just wanted to give you guys an overview of where I'm at now. So this is the Strapi admin panel, and it kind of just was having fun. So I was exploring with the Strapi interface because I have not used Strapi too much other than just for fun. And so I created several collection types with the content types builder, and I tested the REST API and the GraphQL API that comes with a plugin, and that works pretty good. I also built a single collection type for the home page, and that is what is serving data to my portfolio front end on Nuxt. So my Nuxt front end is loading up, and while that's loading, I kind of wanted to give you an overview. So with the collection builder and Strapi, I added several fields, my name, title of the page, or title that's going to be used on the page, meta description that's used in SEO and stuff like that, a hero image, that's my wife and son and I, and then a hero button text, so I can decide what I want in this call to action button, and then the route that button is going to link to within the site. I also added another button, and all of this is accessible with this URI. So if we go over to the server running for Strapi, and we just put homepage on the end of the URL, it returns in JSON form all of that data that we have in there to use. And so this is what we'll be using for the front end. And I'll probably be editing this content more. For instance, I'll probably want to have featured projects on this page as well. I'm not exactly sure. So still kind of just exploring what I want to have on the home page. But I also, on the front end, in the Nuxt, I configured the home page and kind of worked out the API, interacting with the API. And you can see it's using TailwindCSS. When you build a project in Nuxt, it gives you the option to configure it for TailwindCSS. So that's what I did for the CSS framework. And then I also connected the API. So all of this data is coming from the Strapi administrative CMS. So this is a whole nother application that's serving JSON data to the Nuxt front end. And this is the home page. So that's what I have right now. I've got a Nav Bar component set up. And I got this hero that's on the index page, the home page, and a little section with recent blog articles. I like to write blogs, so I'm going to have my blog articles. But this is actually going to go towards the bottom of the page. I just haven't added everything I wanted here in the home page, but I'm also going to be adding projects and more information about me on the home page. And then I also have a view component for the footer. And so I wanted to show you the code for all of this. And this is the project on my local machine that I have set up for both the back end and the front end. So the back end, we won't go into that because that I've primarily just been editing that through the Strapi admin panel. So, but this back end code is all that's included in the Strapi CMS. But this front end is where I've primarily been actually coding and stuff. So it's really cool how Nuxt sets up your project. I used the Create Nuxt app to build this, and it comes set up just pretty much out of the box for ESLint if you wanted to. That was kind of giving me a pain in the butt because I'm not coding the way they want. So I set the ESLint to just stop giving me warnings for now. Maybe I'll use it, but it was just a bogger while I'm developing. But this is where I added the footer and the nav bar. And what's awesome about Nuxt is it automatically can recognize these components and register them globally if you want, if they're in this components directory. And so I just have that set up. I also added a drop-down component that I'm not using yet, but I thought I was going to use it in the nav bar. I just haven't used it. But this is for anywhere I want a drop-down component, I can use this. The footer is just the footer. It's mainly just the HTML. Actually, that's pretty much all it is. It's just a template view component, and there's no script tag, no style tag, nothing. For styling, I'm just using TailwindCSS. So I just have the TailwindCSS there, and nothing much to the footer. The nav bar, on the other hand, has a little bit of interactivity for the mobile menu. And so I have this nav bar menu. The other thing I have is the child component that is for links set up on the nav bar already that Nuxt comes out of the box with. It's called the Nuxt link. And instead of the href attribute, you use the to attribute. And so this is where like my nav bar links are. And then there's also the footer menu that is, or the mobile menu that's down here. So I have the mobile menu wrapped in a transition for doing a little bit of interaction and having a nice transition. And then it's only showing if the nav open data trait is true. So that all is kind of coming through this export, this script tag here in the view component, a very small functionality to make that work. The other thing I set up is a watch tag to where whenever the route changes, the mobile menu automatically closes. The nav bar closes, because what happens in view, if you're in mobile, and let's go ahead and inspect this and make it a little smaller. So this is the mobile version of the site. And what happens is if I didn't have that route watcher, this mobile menu would stay open even if you change the routes. Because what Nuxt does is it's loading the page on the client. It's not hitting the server. It's not completely refreshing the page, which makes the site a lot faster. But that won't close automatically when you click. So a good example of that is if you click home, it's not going to reload the page. It's just going to stay there, and the nav menu stays open. And so you can also see I set up a test page for the post, which has 0 styling, just so I could make sure the routing back and forth is working. And it pulls in the post and through the Strapi API, which was super easy to do, incredibly fun to do, and I like that. The other thing is that I set up is a few pages. I told you about the post page. The other thing that Nuxt does is it automatically registers these components as pages. As long as they're in here, you'll have a page. So all of my post pages are going to be in this folder, this directory. And then I have the index page, which is /posts. And it's going to be a page where all the posts will be displayed. Recent posts, not all of them, but the most recent. And that's pulling in the data from the Strapi API using Axios right now. I think I'm going to be switching to GraphQL for this, but just to get it working, I used Axios, and I'm using the async data method for this because I wanted to load all of the posts on the server versus on the client. So I could have done this with fetch or not fetch, but the data property, or like I could have done this differently, and it would have loaded on like asynchronously on the client side. But I want this to be server side rendered so that Google and other bots can recognize that this is content that is on the page. The other thing I did is create a dynamic route that's going to be for the slug, and it's going to pull in specific posts based upon the post slug. Right now that's not built. But the main work I did was on the home page. And so for the home page, I built the template out, which is what we can see here. This is the template. And that is all with Tailwind CSS and actually with Tailwind UI, which is incredible. If it's so easy, it makes it a lot faster. But this is just the content in between the header, the nav bar, and the footer, because I put the nav bar and the footer inside the layouts, the default layout, because I know that the nav bar and I know that the footer is going to be on every page, and I don't want to have to be putting that component in to each page. I just want it to go in once, and then if I have to update these, I can update it here, or I can create a new layout if I want a different layout for a different page. I can do that pretty easily. So on the main homepage, I have all of the content is being pulled in from the Strapi API for the homepage. So you can see I've got the home.name, which is right here. You can see home.name. So that's the name attribute. Then I have home.title, which is the title attribute. Home.hero button CTA text, which is the hero button CTA text, which is hire me, I need a job. And then home button CTA route, which is post route. Right now it's going to post just because I want it to be an actual post, a route that's built, so there's no errors. But it's going to go eventually going to go to a page where an employer can fill out a form and contact me or reach out to me. And so that is all being pulled in dynamically from the Strapi API. And I just have a conditional statement on this link, those buttons, that only if they're only going to show if there is text in the hero button attribute and there is the route attribute. If there's not either one of those, then this button just won't show. And the same thing with the next button, the button beside it, it's the same thing. And it's just using the next link instead of an href, so that I can use client-side routing with Nuxt, which has a lot of awesome features right out of the box it includes. And then I also have a hero image coming in. And you can see for this, I created a variable just for the image URL to keep it in one place, all of that kind of, more dynamic stuff, because I need to get that API route URL, which is on a different server, and then add the hero image URL attribute to the end of that link. And so I actually think that, no, that's correct, because there is a / there. And then I'm also pulling in the posts. So I'm pulling in a GET request to the REST API through Axios to the homepage and to the posts section. And I'm only limiting the amount of post returned to me by 4. And that's something incredibly amazing that Strapi offers out of the box. Is limit features, just so easy. All you have to do is add a question mark underscore limit equals whatever number you want it to limit, and you've limited your. that's you're not pulling more data than you need from the database. That's amazing. So, and then this async data method, I am returning the home variable, hero image URL, and post constant. So I'm also looping through the post for post and post with the key of the post ID. I'm looping through those with the next link and a div for each of those posts and providing the post title, attribute, preview, and then right now it's linking to the post ID, but soon I'm going to be adding a slug attribute to this post, and so it's going to link to slug, and so we'll get posts based upon the slug, not based upon their ID, because IDs are just not search engine friendly, and I want my site to be as search engine friendly as possible, and so I want to be fetching these items by the slug, and so I'll be doing that later. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Thanks so much for your following along with this journey of building my personal portfolio. I'm excited to keep going on this and would love your input. If you see things that I should do on my portfolio or something that you think would be awesome to have, let me know in the comments of wherever you're watching this, and I will try to add that. If you're looking for somebody that is a hungry go-getter to join your team, definitely reach out to me. We are needing a job. I am definitely needing it right now, at least I would like, but maybe not. We'll see what happens. I am in school getting my software development degree and loving it. I love to code. I also love to work with people. I love to help people, and it would be awesome to join a good team. So thank you so much.